A couple of years ago, I had really bad stomach pains, and my doctor forbade me from eating anything hot and spicy. So, no hot sauce or chiles of any kind. The doctor thought I had like an ulcer or something. Turns out, I needed gallbladder surgery. Don't be afraid to be your own health advocate. Before I landed in the emergency room and was properly diagnosed, I had to, for a couple of months, cut out all chiles, hot sauces, anything remotely spicy from food. And let me tell you, life was so bland and awful at that time.
Televisa presenta.
I may or may not be kinda really dramatic, but having to eat bland food was 8 kinds of terrible. My life was really hard, you guys.
Televisa presenta.
Hot, spicy chiles make food better, and today we're gonna talk about it. We are leaning in hard into the Latino Hispanic stereotype about our love of spicy, hot, caliente chiles. I know that's problematic, but we're doing it. This isn't gonna be a long, in-depth, research-heavy video. We are keeping things fun and fresh for this one. On that note, behind the scenes. Some behind-the-scenes information. All of the videos on my channel are made by me and only me. Thinking up a topic, doing a dissertation's worth of research, writing, shooting, editing, posting, promoting, responding to comments, it's all me, baby. My mom is a great sounding board when it's the research or writing part of the process. Helps me focus. My sister helps too. She will often think of something I didn't think of, and then make sure I include as much information that is important to any one video topic. Since I'm trying to get my tiny, itty-bitty channel to grow, those longer, in-depth, research-heavy videos, people just don't want to watch them, and I get it. I have no audience or friends even. Only a couple of family members who are very supportive, and like 1 fan. Maybe 2 if the stars are aligned. In order to try and build an audience, I'll do more short videos, focus on one specific topic, maybe lean into the stereotype, if that helps engagement and views. So if you want to help out and make sure I don't fail at yet another endeavor, feel free to watch other videos, like or dislike videos, comment on those videos, leave a couple of comments on the videos, and if you like it here, subscribe. I thank you in advance. Oh, and in the debate of how to address folks from Latin America or of Latin American descent, I am switching to Hispanic. I hate the term Latinx. And for more on why, watch the video on why I hate the term Latinx. I'm going with the woman who coined the term Hispanic, Grace Flores Hughes. When you think of Latino/Hispanic, you're thinking of folks who speak Spanish and or have Spanish last names. Plus, Hispanic is gender neutral. It's a good term that covers all the bases. Now, let's get into it. Scoville 1, some Chile deets. Chili peppers started out here in the New World. Some sources have chili origins in Brazil, others in the Caribbean. Archaeologists believe that birds are responsible for chiles popping up in different parts of Latin America. I've seen birds feast on chili plants, so yeah, that checks out. Wherever it was chiles first popped up, the place where they were domesticated was in Mexico. The word Chile comes from the ancient Aztec Nahuatl word chilli. The Mexica, the Aztecs, used chiles not only in food but also as medicine. For those who use paint ointments with capsaicin, the Mexica did it first. I bet an ointment that combines weed, capsaicin, and vapor rub would cure anything. The science term for chiles as a whole is capsium. Chiles are a fruit. The capsium family has a ton of chiles from the super hot to the barely hot. More specifically, there are 3 types of chiles: bell peppers, sweet peppers, and hot peppers. All have some level of heat, despite only one kind being labeled hot. The rest of the world had pepper, since chiles were hot like pepper, and that was the closest comparison in flavor. Chiles got the new name chili peppers. When the colonizers pillaged, plundered, and took back to the old country what they discovered, chiles were included in the loot. Once chiles hit Spain, they then spread across the world, literally. Folks from Africa to East Asia tasted chiles and never looked back. Mexican cuisine is not the only one that loves chiles. So does Southern, Middle Eastern, Indian, Chinese, Thai, all of the rest of the world, really. The non-white world. White people can't handle hot, and it's a shame because y'all are missing out. We all know salt, right? Salt not only gives food flavor, but it was also used for a while as currency, as money. So for many centuries, people couldn't use salt for cooking. Pepper was a very expensive spice that most folks could not afford to buy. When chiles landed in Europe, there was finally a cheap, flavorful alternative to both salt and pepper. Chiles. Don't you dare disrespect her. Scoville 2. 6 different flavors. In the culinary world, that sounds super pretentious. Food people have agreed there are 5 different flavors your tongue enjoys when you're eating. Sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and most recently, umami. The best way to describe umami is savoriness. In Spanish, the word would be sabroso, which is hard to describe, but if you know what it means, that's what umami is. All 5 are great flavors, and really good food has a nice balance of each flavor. I would argue there needs to be another flavor added, chile. For those who think chile is only about being hot, let me dispel that belief right now. Adding chile to food is all about adding extra flavor. Chiles or sauces that are nothing but hot are not good or edible even. I'm not saying that heat isn't part of the draw of eating chiles or hot sauces, but that is not the only thing that matters. For those uncultured swine who don't know, chiles are fruity or acidic or grassy or sweet, plus a kick of heat. Like I said before, chiles and hot sauces are all about adding flavor to food. And let me tell you, a lot of food needs that help. I'll bet good money that almost every food would benefit from some heat. Chiles and hot sauces make sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and umami tastier and better. Like with wine, there are appropriate chile hot sauce pairings for different foods. Let's get into that. Scoville 3. How to enjoy chiles. There are no rules per se when it comes to eating chilies or hot sauces. I could make up some rules, but I think guidelines would be more helpful. Those pretentious French culinary bastards have rules, and you guys know how much I hate the French. So, no rules.
Rules are, there ain't no rules.
Guideline 1. The smaller the chile, the hotter it is. The hottest chili, according to Guinness, is the Carolina Reaper. If you are a chili noob, I suggest you start with larger, sweeter peppers and move your way down to the smaller stuff if you feel so inclined. If all you can handle are the bigger, less hot peppers, that's cool. You do not need to torture yourself and eat hotter peppers. Like I said, and will probably repeat, chiles are for making food better, tastier, more flavorful. Most folks will find their sweet spot is in the jalapeno chipotle, which is a smoked jalapeno, Fresno chili, Serrano chili area. All of those have a sweet, grassy, fruity, smoky flavor with a kick of heat. If you're from a Hispanic household, you might have these small chili plants, and these are good too. Birds freaking love these chiles. They are super hot. Remember, the smaller the chile, the hotter it is. So be very, very careful with those. Guideline 2. If chiles aren't your thing, try hot sauces. There are literally thousands of kinds of hot sauces. Some are colored water, and others are chunky with garlic and other ingredients. Most sauces are in the middle when it comes to hot spiciness. Hot sauces are more about the background flavor and less about the straight heat. Like Tabasco, for example. That's more about the vinegar flavor, and the heat is a secondary factor. Hot sauces are also nice enough to be sweeter if the main chile used is pretty caliente. Some hot sauces are straight pungent lava, but thankfully, most are not. The majority of people will be comfortable in the Tabasco, Valentina, Tapatio, Cholula area. Not too hot and a pretty good flavor enhancer to different foods. Hot sauces that are straight napalm are for frat boy challenges and to embarrass celebrities on hot ones. You don't need to burn off your tongue like that. Not for free, at least. Guideline 3. Chiles don't have to be a spicy condiment. There are a ton of dishes that feature chiles as the backbone or the star of the show. Most of the time, they are not spicy hot caliente. Chile rellenos and rajas are obvious examples of this. Sometimes they are hot, but most of the times they are not. Sauces and moles are generally not hot, even though chiles are the main ingredient. If you've ever had a red pozole, you know that the chili in there is to color the stock. Red pozole is more attractive than white pozole, I guess. Racists. In all of these examples, the chile ingredient is more about flavor than heat. If you want to be a real chili connoisseur, try dishes where non-hot chilies are featured. To enjoy them properly, you'll have to add a chile or a hot sauce. Ironically. Guideline 4. Eat different chiles and hot sauces with different foods. Some folks will eat the same chile or hot sauce with all food, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's jalapenos or tapatio on everything. I found that different foods need different spicy pairings. Wine style, baby. I'll tell you, mi familia, some pairings I enjoy. Raw jalapenos or serranos are good for chunky salsa or guacamole. Pickled jalapenos are best for nachos, of course, but also sandwiches and hamburgers. The little fresh plant chilies mother likes in soups and stews. She is way more tough and badass than I'll ever be. Chili flakes go well with pizza naturally, but also pastas and menudo. Roasted tomatillo salsa likes chile de árbol, and that salsa is great for soft tacos. Tabasco goes well with pasta, quesadillas, stews, and pizza. The vinegar cuts through the richness very nicely. Tapatio is good with seafood, cóctel de camarón, ceviche, tuna salad. Valentina is good with crunchy tacos, refried beans, and popcorn. Some folks like sriracha. I'm not a big fan. It's kind of too pungent for my taste. The Asian sauce I really like is sambal. It's great not only for Asian food, but sambal is a good universal hot chili sauce. Chile de árbol is good for soups and stews and other food you want to make really hot. If you have a good chili hot sauce pairing with food, comment it down below and let me know. I promise I'll try it out and report back to you guys. Lastly, guideline 5. Chiles and hot sauces have to be consumed with food. If you're gonna try a chile or a hot sauce, do it with food. It's not a good idea to eat a chile by itself or drink hot sauce straight out of the bottle. Don't do it. You are not gonna have a good time. If someone challenges you to a who can take more heat contest, heat up some beans and rice at the very least and eat your spicy hot stuff with that. If you just want to show off, never chew, only swallow. Most important tip, if your mouth is on fire, ice water, milk, lemon, bread, white rice all help. You kind of just have to let it burn and the pain will pass. If worse comes to worse, a little bit of a dish soap rinse, remember rinse, spit it out, will help calm everything down. Conclusion, you might think that all Hispanic folks love chile or anything hot, but that's not the case. Some of us don't, and that's okay. Even though we are leaning in hard into the stereotype in this video, don't be shocked or shame anyone Hispanic for not liking spicy hot stuff. Anyone who doesn't like spicy hot stuff is missing out. If you dare to try chiles and hot sauces, let me know if you liked it. Do chilies and hot sauces improve food's flavor, or am I just a masochist? Be very, very careful, mi familia, and salud.